this video we are preparing is to give you an idea about the banking industry in India. Okay, so we will talk about different types of banks in India, the banking industry, how it is growing, uh, what are the kind of employees the banks are looking for, what could be the attitude of the people, what kind of jobs you can get, and the biggest thing is what is the benefit that you get by joining the banking industry. Okay, so let us look into the banking industry of India. Okay, so we're talking about the banking industry of our country. So first thing is you need to understand what is a commercial bank. Okay, so what is a commercial bank? A commercial bank refers to a financial institution. So basically, a commercial bank is a financial institution that accept deposits. That means they can take money from customers in form of saving account, current account, FDs. Okay, offers checking account services. That means you can get the checks. They will transfer money for you. They can deposit money for you, they can save money for you, and those kind of things. Makes various loans and offers basic financial products. So they are also giving multiple services like certificate of deposit. It is called as CD. Now, an FD is also like a CD, but there are some minor changes which currently we don't need to understand. And savings accounts to individuals and small business and insurances. So businesses and insurance companies also open bank accounts with the commercial banks in India. Now, basically, there are three types of commercial banks in India. What are the three types? One is a public sector bank. Public sector banks, we will see what are the examples of public sector bank. Then there are foreign banks. Okay, so foreign banks are also there in India and they are also commercial banks. And then we have private banks in India. They are also commercial banks. So which are the public sector banks in India, which are commercial banks? So in India, we have got Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, SBI, Punjab National Bank, Union Bank, Central Bank, Indian Bank, Bank of India, Indian Overseas Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, UCO Bank, Punjab and Sindh Bank. So these are all public sector banks. Okay, to get jobs into these banks, you have to pass the government banking exams, which in normal cases lakhs of students sit and probably only few thousand gets. Now, one drawback of this system is because the positions available is so less and the aspirants are so high, it makes it very, very difficult to get these kind of jobs. And normally, when people get into public sector banks, they never leave their jobs till they retire. So the vacancies are created are also very, very slow. The second type of bank is foreign banks. So in India, there is banks like HSBC, ANZ, Public Bank, and then Citibank is there, Standard Chartered Bank is there, Hong Kong Leong Bank is there. So there are many banks in India which are foreign banks also. Now, in foreign banks, normally they recruit people from either a public bank or a private bank in India. Okay. Now, from public bank, as I told, normally nobody leaves the banking job and go. So foreign banks do not get recruits from public banks. But from private banks, like which we will see, they get a lot of recruits. So when you join a private bank, you are also opening your doors for foreign banks. So in future, you can get good opportunity to join foreign banks also. And the third type of commercial banks in India is private banks. Private banks are the banks which you are most interested in. Okay, so there is Axis Bank, Dhanlaxmi Bank, ICICI Bank, IDBI Bank, Bandhan Bank, Federal Bank, HDFC, Kotak, RBL, IndusInd, and there are many more banks. Okay, so private banks are where we are most interested in because our program will help you to get jobs in private banks. And when I say private banks, the doors are also open for foreign banks because when foreign banks require operations people, they need trained people. And from where they will get trained people? Because public sector bank employees normally don't leave the jobs. So it is from private sector banks only. So when you're entering into a private sector bank job, there are a lot of chances from here you can move to a foreign bank also. Now, major private banks in India, There are total 21 private banks in India, and there are 9,500 NBFCs. But a lot of these NBFCs are small NBFCs. Okay, so they probably might not be in the national business also. They might be in some small pockets. But there are some very big NBFCs also, like L&T Finance is an NBFC. Okay, Aditya Birla Finance is an NBFC. So like that, there are some big financial groups, okay, which are NBFCs and which are operating all over India. HDFC have over 8,000 branches in India. ICICI Bank has over 5,000 branches in India. Axis Bank has over 4,700 branches in India. And Kotak Mahindra has 1,600 branches in India. Okay, so the banking industry, in the banking industry, the private sector banks have been growing very fast. Okay, so if you look at this growth picture, you will see that the banking sector, from the public sector, you will see there is more growth in the private sector. Okay, so public sector, if you see the income, that is the investments that are coming, was 1.8 from 21-22 and 2021. And in private sector bank, it was 3.1. Basically, it could be in millions, it could be in crores. But what I'm trying to show you is the investments are reducing in private public sector banks, and it is increasing in private sector banks. This shows that how the private sector banks are growing. Okay, even the interest on balances with RBI. You see the public sector bank interest only 7.2, whereas in private sector it is 19.3. And if you look at the analysis, you can see that in the last 8 years, HDFC has grown with 20% growth every year. And data shows that it is going to keep on continuously growing for the next 25 to 30 years, because there is a lot of growth area to be covered, especially in the rural areas and the smaller towns in India. So there is a lot of growth remaining still in India for the banking sector, and private sector banks are now taking the initiatives. In fact, I have met one of my friend or colleague, you can say, who is working at a very senior level in HDFC Bank, and they were planning to open up small banks in the interiors, which will be like a one-man bank, two-man bank, three-man bank. So the banking sector is going to continuously grow in India, okay, especially the private sector banks. Now, services that are given by commercial banks. Now, here we are talking about private banks. Okay. So, because of the growth, every year there's a requirement of almost 5 lakh employees. Okay. 5 lakh is not a small figure. 5 lakh new freshers are needed in private banks in India. Okay. Banks are giving services like taking deposits, opening current account, saving account, NRI account, NRE account, NRO account, FDs, RDs. FD means fixed deposit, RDs means recurring deposits. They also nowadays into demat account, portfolio management services, broking, mutual funds, and systematic investment plans. They are also into insurance, that is life insurance, general insurance, motor, health, commercial, all these. So currently, if you see, private banks are giving all the services which otherwise would be only given by insurance companies or by a broking firm. Now, private banks are doing everything. Okay, that means that is the reason why private banks are growing very fast. They are also giving loans, personal loans, and business loans also. So that is another way they earn income. Now, skills needed to get jobs in a commercial bank. What are the skills that are needed? Now, there was a time when banking was like a layback attitude job. That is before the privatization of banking happened in India. It was in 1991 that privatization happened in India. Before that, there were only public sector banks in India. So only when there were public sector banks in India, that time, these employees who used to work in banks, they had a layback attitude, very relaxed, work will happen. But now it is not like that. Commercial banks, especially private banks, you have to be on your toes. Okay, now you have to be more customer centric if you really want the bank to grow. Okay, so banks are looking for people with knowledge, staff with skills, especially in the area of operations. Okay, sales is basically hire and perform or fire. So in sales, what they are doing is they're hiring people. If they perform, good. If they don't perform, they are firing the people. So salespeople move from one bank to another bank to another bank, and finally, when they settle down into the fifth or sixth bank, they understand the business and they settle down over there. But in operations, it is not like that. In operations, they are looking for trained people, people with skills who can stay in the bank and keep control over things that are happening. Okay, so that they can have their front office and back office operations very, very strong. So in operations, commercial bank, especially private banks, are looking for trained people, people with good attitude. Okay, knowledge. What kind of knowledge is needed if you want to get into private banks? So they are looking for people who have knowledge in retail branch banking, trade finance, credit and risk, okay, and attractive personality. These are the skills and these are the knowledge that private commercial banks are looking for. So if you train yourself in these areas, then you can surely do well in commercial private banks. Now, attitude plays a very, very important. As I said, now things are different. Bankers have to have a very, very positive attitude. So you really need to have a positive attitudes. Like number one, you should be ready to improve yourself. So bankers now have to be ready with their skills. If not, they have to be ready to improve their skills. They should have positive attitude. They should have a learning attitude. They should have a helping attitude, improving attitude, and accepting challenges and be dynamic. Earlier, they used to say, "Oh, I am only a clerk, so I will only do clerk job." Now it's not like that. I'm a cashier. If required, I will do selling. I'm a front desk officer. If required, I'll do cashier's job also. You should be ready to do any job that is given to you inside the branch. Okay. And you have to be dynamic. That means you should be ready to accept changes. That is how the banking industry is. So if you're ready for those things, then the banking industry is also ready for you. Okay, empathy is very, very important. Basically, understanding your customer. If you don't understand your customer, then it is very difficult to do banking nowadays. So you have to have that empathy to understand your customer, then only you can do better. Okay. Benefits of becoming a banker. Now, this is the most important thing. Okay. Why do students want to join the banking industry? Because there are a lot of benefits. This is the most important thing that you all should understand. If you are selling a commercial banking program, first important thing is you should be able to tell all the benefits, because this is the key area that will help you to sell commercial banking programs to students. Okay. Number one is when you become a banker, you get a lot of social respect, because banks means stability. Banks means huge. Banks means an institution. So number one is you get a lot of social respect when you say that you are a banker. Number two, you get good salary. Banks will offer you salary which is not very, very high, not very, very low, but you will always be above average. This way you have good salary. Okay. And depending upon your level, your salary keeps on increasing. It is not like in small organizations, your work is increasing, but your salary is not increasing. In banks, every year you get increments, every single year. It can be 5%, 7%, but every year you get increment. That is the benefit of being a banker. Next important thing is job stability. During pandemic, we have seen so many companies shut down. So many companies reduce their salary to half, but banking industry was strong and stable. So there's a lot of job stability, better work-life balance. If you look banking jobs, you come on time, you go on time. This way you can manage your work and your home. Second, every single social holiday in your area, the bank will be having a holiday. So every single social holiday, it could be, if you're in Maharashtra, you will get Ganpati, Dasera, Diwali, Gudi Padwa, all the festivals that are in your local area, you will get holiday for that. That is the biggest benefit. Many companies, they do not give these holidays. You on a festival day also you are going to work, but in banks it is not like that. Especially now with ATMs and wire transfers and online transfer, banking industry is now become an industry where you have to give services, but not the normal services. Like bank transfer, you don't need to go to a bank anymore. But if you need some additional service, then only you need to go to a bank, right? So the advantage now with the banking industry for the employees is you don't have to be there inside the bank to serve the customer. Okay. Next, loan facility. The bankers get loan, home loan, vehicle loan, education loan at a very, very low interest rate. That is not available for common people. So you save a lot of money when you take a loan as a banker from your own bank. Okay. Minimum paperwork is needed because you are already a banker, no? So the bank already knows you. So the KYC part becomes very, very easy. Okay. Next, there are a lot of employee benefits like mediclaim, insurance, retirement plan, disability. All these things are covered. When you join a bank, you get all these facilities. Of course, you have to complete your probation period and everything. But after that, all these things are there. There are so many companies where you're not even insured. But if you join the banking sector, you have insurance, you have mediclaim, you have retirement plan, disability insurance. So if while you're working in a bank, you meet up with an accident and something happens, many companies remove people. But in banks, you continue working there and in fact, you get more benefits. I'm not saying that somebody has to meet with an accident, but you never know what fate is there for you. So banking jobs give you that stability and safety. Better working conditions. If you go to a bank, you will never see a bank in a very, very shabby situation. Banks are always well maintained. AC is there, proper place is there for every employee to work. There is always canteen. You will never see bankers sitting, you will never see a cashier sitting and eating food in the cashier desk. There is a canteen facility. They will go there. There are proper washroom. The biggest thing is there is safety while working in a bank. Every bank will have its own security guards. Plus, on one push of a button, police will be available. So you get a lot of safety when you are working in a bank. Transfers, especially for ladies, for girls. So many girls, they join a company. After that, they get married. When they get married, they move to their husband's place. When they move to their husband's place, they have to leave their previous job and then go and look for a new job. Sometimes, because of pregnancy, for the first 1, 2, 3 years, the girls do not get a job or they don't go for a job. And after 3, 4 years of gap, it becomes difficult for them to get a job. But if you're in a bank, you don't have to leave your job because banks are there in every city. So you can get a transfer. You get all the benefits of pregnancy. All these benefits are there when you join a banking sector. So joining the ever growing banking sector is one of the biggest benefit that any single employee can get. Okay, see, you can see the workplace, how beautiful it looks. And believe me, they maintain it very, very well. Banking industry, they make sure that the banks are maintained very, very well. Now, what are the roles that you can get after you do a commercial banking program? So you can become a person who handles the welcome desk, handles the teller or cashier counter, customer service, you can become a customer relations person. You manage the liability operations or you can manage the asset operations, digital banking operations, custodian operations, back office roles. There are all these operations. There is a support team that is needed. So you will get back office roles over there. Trade finance officer, security management. Now, security management does not mean you have to stand as a security guard. Within the bank, there are a lot of security features. Okay, so your job will be to continuously monitor that. So in systems, you're sitting and maintaining and monitoring whether all the systems are working properly or not. That is what is security management system. Checking KYC of all the customers. Anti-money laundering is somebody depositing too much cash in their account. So these are the basic type of entry-level jobs that are available for any person who is doing commercial banking program, especially with us. Okay, so there are a lot of benefits of becoming a commercial banker. Now, what is the eligibility criteria? We have discussed it many times, but we will still continue. You need to have 50% marks in 10th, 12th, and graduation. Okay, that is a must. And any stream of graduation is fine. You can do BA, BSc, BCom, engineering, whatever you do, banks are ready to accept. But the thing is, you have to do it from a proper university. Okay, no open university or night university is allowed. Now, banks do not want employees who have gap in their studies. Now, if there is a reason for the gap, like accident, hospitalization, it's allowed. But financial issues, family issues, just because you didn't feel like continuing, you took a break, Those kind of things banks will not prefer. Okay, they do not want people with cap. Average communication. Okay, if the student can communicate a little bit in English and in local language, that will do. Age limit for graduates 24 years, and for postgraduates it is 27 years. So this is the basic eligibility criteria to get into a banking job. All right, so this was a little bit idea about the banking industry in India. Okay, banking industry is an ever growing industry in our country. For the next 25 to 30 years, it is continuously going to grow. So I think this is one of the best programs that you can offer to a fresh graduate today, that they should join the banking industry and make their career in a growing industry. This way they can also grow. Thank you very much.